Hey there, it's Derek from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan here. We're looking at a 1996 Toyota Chaser. This one here is the Avante G edition, which was the luxury package for this, as opposed to the Tourer S or Tourer V, which would be the sports car versions of it, or sportier versions. This one here is in really good condition with just 53,000 kilometers on it. It's kind of an interesting vehicle. It was a, well, I don't know exactly what it was, but it says it has a badge on the back stating that it was used for shrine use, which is really weird. See this orange badge? It says, oh, I think it's Omamori Shrine Safety Vehicle. I have no idea what a shrine safety vehicle would be for, but it certainly is weird or interesting. You can check to see online maybe the Omamori area, see if you can find their current version of a shrine safety vehicle, but maybe that's why it had such low mileage on it. It also has instructions on the steering wheel. Let me just show you those now. And it kind of gives me the feeling like it was either volunteers that would be driving this, or they would let the public drive the car. Maybe around a little course in the shrine. So see right here, it says instructions. The first one is use the wide road. Second one is have fun driving. And the third one is be alert or be cautious while you're driving. So yeah, other than that, it's just a regular vehicle. And because it's the Avante G and I've never seen it before, this is my first time seeing this version of the interior, which is more luxurious, I guess you could say. Has a green speckled interior on it. Anyway, back to the car. Oil and coolant, both are good. Yes, it is a 1JZ. On a previous video, I accidentally called a 2J a 1J because visually they're very similar engines. This is a variable valve timing version of the 1J, 2.5 liter inline 6-cylinder. It puts out, I believe, just over 200 or about 200 horsepower. Well suited for the car. These are medium-sized cars by Japanese standards. They're really not that big by current standards. And I think the weight's probably somewhere in the 1,300 kilogram range. And I think it's a well-suited engine. The turbo version of this is very powerful and very nice indeed, but they tend to be extremely expensive these days. If you really like the Chaser, and I know a lot of people love the looks of them because of drifting and the popularity of tuning cars, these are very popular tuner cars, they can be hard to buy with the 5-speed manual or with the turbo engine, but you can still get the same looks. Maybe you can do an engine swap if that's what you really want. You can probably save a little bit of money because Japan has tons and tons of these in automatic transmission and non-turbo that not that many people are buying. Okay, so I'm just going to close this up. Not much to talk about there. Timing belt hasn't been done on it, but it looks like regular maintenance has been. So do check that. These cars feel great and smaller than they actually are to drive. And this one has like a front bumper lip that gives it a bit of a sportier look. I guess that's original. I wouldn't imagine a Shrine would be putting aftermarket parts onto their car. And I suspect that the Shrine owned this for 25 years before going ahead and selling it to auction. Let's go ahead and turn the engine off here. And remember, enjoy driving. That's number 2 on the list. Kind of weird that being cautious is third place. You'd think that being cautious is first, and then use the wide road, and then have fun. It's sort of like going to McDonald's and ordering a smile as your very first thing, not the last thing on the menu. So let's go ahead and translate this. It's a 1996 Chaser 2.5 Avante G. I would think that it would be pronounced Avant. You can see there. The Japanese is phonetic though, so it's really easy to not mispronounce things. Even though plenty of people tell me I'm mispronouncing Celica, or what's the other one? Toreno, like the true no. Yeah, anyway. So 53,266 kilometers. It's authentic mileage on there. It is an R grade. I guess somebody wasn't using the wide road and crashed it somewhere. The crash, let's see. Right front inner panel has some marks on being repaired. So that is what the suspension on this side is attached to. You can usually tell because this fender will no longer fit perfectly. Feel it. It is basically a 10 out of 10. I can't feel anything that's off on this. I could see a little bit off here where the bumper attaches. It attaches nice and tight over here. It's a little bit further away over here. And so this is your only visual area of any damage from the accident. And an R grade doesn't, very much so, doesn't mean a salvage title here in Japan. It's just that it has had some repair no matter how small that it is. So there could be some that are fine, some that are so-so, and some that are disasters. So R grade really doesn't give you that much information. You have to look at the notes here. Okay, so the only note here says it was purchased from the user. It's original pearl white, very small scratches and small dents, windshield rock chip, interior dirty. It's actually really not, stained and wear. The body, it's generally pretty good. It says AU2 over here, so just have a quick look at that. Under here it has hit something. Looks fine. You can't really see that unless you go underneath the vehicle, so I'm not too worried about that. I think this here, with a dent here, is your biggest damage on the car. We got an El Grand coming to run me over, so I'm going to go deke back, not get run over, thank you, then come back to it. Okay, so we have a series of scratches here with a little bit of denting in this section. Here, a little bit of the beginnings of rust, so get this addressed. And here with some touch-up paint and a couple of areas of touch-up paint on the side bumper. That's really the worst of the damage on the entire car. It's, I would consider this about medium. It's not a lot of work that has to be put into repairing that. Okay, and then there's one more dent, or two more dents, like right here and here on this front fender. Okay, now headlights are nice and bright. You rarely ever see this, but most of the shrines are kind of like this. They got tons of trees around them, so possibly it got a lot of shade wherever it was normally parked. Paint looks like it's in good condition. You would want to worry about like sap and stuff falling from the trees, but no, it's fine. Okay, now it said AU2 there. I guess that does make sense for that back one there. They didn't really mention the dents on this fender, which is a bit of a shame. But it's good to see that the bumper as a whole, or the body as a whole, is quite good. There also is A3 on the back, which I didn't mention. Here I am going back in. All right. Right here would be considered A3. That seems reasonable. And there's a little bit of a color difference between the bumper and the body. That's quite normal because these are plastic and this is metal. And they paint them at the same time. And then they fade at different rates because they're different materials and it affects the way that the paint changes over time. Very normal for a car this old. Also has a little bit of scratching here. Okay, so that's the auction sheet. Let's take it once around so you can see it from all different angles. I remember when I first saw these, I thought they were kind of a BMW ripoff because of the two it looks like a Z3's headlight, right? The more we see these, the more I think this is the one that looks better than most of those BMWs from that era. And I'm spending less time looking at those headlights, even though I think they are a good-looking headlight. I think overall it's just a really good-looking sedan. Sporty, four-door, a good rake to the windshield and the back window. The back taillights look great. And the more you see these driving around, the more you really like them. And notice the subtleties that look really nice on it. Now the sad thing is, most of these aren't on the road anymore, or they're not as common as they were, say, 15 years ago, because they are getting a little bit old, which means people trade them up for new cars. Most people in Japan want to drive cars that are 5 years old or newer. And then it kind of leaves the enthusiasts to cars like this, which up until recently, the enthusiasts could get the turbo ones or the ones with the 5-speed if they wanted. They weren't that expensive. I can remember when turbo 5-speeds were 600,000 yen or like 6 grand. Now you're looking at like 20 to 25 grand, sometimes 30 grand for them. And then the automatic turbos used to be $1,000 to $2,000. You're looking at 10 grand now. And then I'm not going to comment too much on prices of what these are because I don't want people to assume I'm talking about the price that we bought this for. That is private information, but generally these would be less expensive than anything else because no turbo and the automatic transmission. Okay, so we did go over the body, kind of everything that I wanted to talk about. Let's just go around one more time to make sure I didn't miss anything. There's a bit of a scuff there, but most of that is paint that you can take off by the look of it. Okay, down here. Oh, this handle has some scratches in it. Kind of weird that only the handle got the damage. There's a light scratch here you might be able to buff out, but these ones here are right down to the primer. Okay, do really like this C-pillar. I think it's a really nice shape, how it connects to the back window. Nice big trunk. Nowadays, most sedans don't have a trunk that's 2 feet long like this one is. It's usually something smaller, or the back window will come further back. Yeah, quite like the styling of this. Okay, it has the original wheels on it with winter tires. I don't know where Amamori? I don't know where that is. Kind of sounds like Aomori, which is a further north, but I have no idea. Mori is forest. I don't know what Ama is. I don't think it's the Ama like Amai, like sweet. Sweet forest would be a silly name. So some chips in the side bumper here. Okay, the best place for the chips to be is in that bumper piece, because you can take the bumper piece off and you can paint that yourself without having to paint the entire door, which is nice. It just got all of a sudden really dark here. Pop that key out. Okay, you can see door handle is a little bit worn and a little bit dirty there. Okay, going inside, you have a really cool digital gauge set for it. Now you might have seen it already, but let's see it again. See, it's kind of behind everything else. Has a cool look to it. And the tachometer is down below there. And looks cool while you're revving it. I don't know. I like this kind of stuff. I think the, if I recall, the Tourer S and Tourer V have an analog gauge set. But I'm not feeling that confident on that. I have seen a ton of them, but none of them recently. Prices went up. Sales went down. And these days, I used to see every car that we sold, and we no longer do that. So a lot of people are sending their cars direct to port to cut down on some of the costs. And that means I don't get to see as many cars as I used to. And there's good reason for that, because I can't definitely not see the amount of cars that we're doing in terms of sales volume. So you get this, and then you can do this. It's a little bit gimmicky and a little bit weird. It's not bad though. How about cup holders? I don't think you get any. It's weird, because typically you would get something like a little plastic insert that goes here that has 2 cup holders in it. That insert is missing. You could buy it. You'd have to get someone to ship it to you. Okay, has swing vents. Everyone loves these. You press this button and then the vents oscillate back and forth like a fan. It's, again, gimmicky, but it's super cool. I love it a lot. Has a navi screen here. The AC doesn't work. The auction sheet didn't mention that. The AC blows, the compressor turns on, it's not cold. And so probably there's a coolant leak somewhere in the AC coolant system. This part here is for your wallet, I guess, but good luck fitting a wallet in there. And then has not been smoked in. It says no smoking. There's no signs of ashes in there. Missing the floor carpets front and rear, and has these pretend ones put in. They are really bad. You're going to need some new floor carpets. These ones slide around because they're not anchored to anything. Could be a little bit dangerous. That goes for both front ones, and then the rears are just outright missing. Has a sunroof, and the sunroof works. It's both tilt and sliding if you want. We'll go into the back seats now. Plenty of room in the back seats, and it feels cool. I love cars of this era. You actually have a real car. Nowadays all the cars are kind of hyper styled, and their waistline is up really high, and the windows are small, and it just feels different. Okay, I do like this pattern too. I love checking on a car that I haven't seen before. Has different interior bits. Feels cool. You got the ashtray right there, and a place. Now it looks like a cup holder slot's in there as well, but this one's been removed. Maybe the shrine didn't want you drinking in their car. If they had this open to the public, I don't know if they did. And then it has a sub back there. Speakers in the door, and probably two speakers in the front doors. And trunk. Surprisingly large trunk. And nice use, right? It has the large area from here to here, which modern cars usually don't have. And then it still has the mailbox thing. That this is what the most modern cars, especially like the 8.6 or something, this is really narrow and it's kind of hard to put things in. Not this case. You could run and jump in there and close the trunk in like half a second. Something you couldn't do on most modern cars. And a good amount of space side to side too. It goes all the way to the side. There is no side mounted spare tire. The spare tire is missing in this one. And you can look down here. It looks like it's all in great condition. No signs of water damage or rust. And the spare tire well. And this isn't sagging. Oftentimes you'll have no spare tire that won't hold this up, and people will put luggage in here and then it will crush that. So do be careful and get a spare tire before you start using the trunk. Okay, Chaser. And in case you didn't know, there are 3 cars in the Chaser family. They're all JZX100s or GX100s. They did make a GX100, right? I'm not making that up. Anyway, Chaser, Mark II, and Cresta. So this one is the Chaser, my favorite looks of all of them. So there it is. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.